divine love, divine blessings, for illumination, for divine oneness, divine bliss, divine health, and divine protection. We thank you in full faith. So be it. Welcome to session 2 of this season. Thank you for joining once more for this class. It's actually really nice that so many of you are showing interest to keep doing this kind of work. Thank you once again. So today, before um, before I answer that one question that Sabna asked, let me just cover some topics, and then after that, I'll talk about acceptance and other things, and then slowly I'll just work on that question. Last class, I think I'm not sure, Anita or somebody had asked about dimension or something like that. So what I wanted to cover today, which I've also covered in the divine design, but then I'll just touch upon some of those topics so that it will be very clear for us to understand why we are the way we are and things like that. Okay. So the story goes like this. Of course, we all are a part of it. This is in a book, but it's not like we can actually witness or we can recollect whatever has happened. At least I don't recollect. But then, since it's there in multiple books, it is also there in our shastras, in our scriptural studies, and Bible, and many of those books. But they are very, the mention of that is very cryptic. But in some of the recent books, it is very clearly specified. Divine design is one of the book. And then when we did that divine design, it was very clear. So the story goes like this, that I have spoken in the last class about how God, what do you say, created a reflection of himself so that he can experience his own creation, right? And then in that reflection, there are multiple manifestations or different manifestations of the same God, and at different levels of awareness or frequencies. So let's say this was actually playing out, and then Earth as a soul is also one of that manifestation of God. So let's say that soul is like a container for receiving God's thoughts and then further expressing it into something else. Okay, it is let's say an intermediate container. But the soul itself, again, of course, cannot, it can stand on its own, but then if it needs a physical experience, then it has to go down further to connect itself to other manifestations, which are more like a vehicle, like a physical thing. See, to connect, to feel, or to see and touch and other things, we need a vehicle, or God needs a vehicle which is compatible with that kind of frequency. So if I am like energy, let's say if I'm God and if I'm like energy, I can't interact with, let's say, a laptop because I'll actually be going through the laptop, right? It's like you may have seen in the movies, ghost movies and all of that. So it will go through that person. So energy is like it doesn't have a physical form. To interact with a physical, you need a physical. So what Earth did, Earth was one such manifestation of God, and then Earth is, of course. So what she decided was, I want to experience the physical aspect. I want to experience the physical dimension. So here, so all of these souls are actually in a energy level. Okay, they don't have any body or anything. So they all are aware that there are certain lower frequencies of expression which are physical, where the frequency is so slow and time also goes so slowly that it's like fan speed number one, or let's say half or something like that, where it is actually going like this slowly. And if I am able to see, we are also vibrating at a very slow frequency, low frequency, which is why we are um what do you say? We are all looking like physical. We are also actually vibrating, but because whatever we see is also vibrating at the same level. It's not like we are seeing them jump. If I see something else go faster than me, then I can actually make out the difference. But if there is no difference at all, then I can't make out the difference. So everything that we see physical around us is vibrating at the same frequency, which is why we are able to see it. But if somebody is standing next to me as of now, which I mean, it is possible that we are in a jam-packed cosmos. It is not like my house is empty and it is all thin air and all of that. No, multiple frequencies, people rather, beings are operating at different frequencies. So somebody might be right next to me, but vibrating at a higher frequency. So I can't actually see him. I'm going to go through him. So it is more like that, right? So she wanted to experience physicality. So where is physicality? It is mostly from the third dimension, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, right? All these dimensions, there is some amount of physicality. Like third is very slow. Relatively, fourth is slightly faster than that. Fifth is even more higher. Fifth is where typically all people go to samadhi state, enlightenment, and all of that are in the fifth dimension, that level of awareness. Frequency, vibration of your own cells reach the frequency at in which is required for the range which is there in the fifth dimension. So they have a range, right? Frequency band. So in that frequency, if somebody is vibrating, then they are actually experiencing the fifth dimension. So the many of us, and third and fourth is mostly having duality because it is slightly farther from that point of God, point called God. It is very farther, and vibration is also very slow. So time is all the time is like an expanded form. See, it's like this. I had to, in the first class I told you, right? It's more like a triangle. In this point, if there is God, and in the base of the triangle, you can see if there is, you can think of that as the third dimension. Okay, here from this point, if you draw a straight line to the center, okay, so that is actually the point of now. There is now here, now here, now here, now here, and now here, right? This line is actually called now. But then something behind now is called past. Something here, it is called future. But it is still only one now. But here in the base of the triangle, the time, the point of now is like stretched like a rubber band. The now is like pulled into a rubber band like this because it is so slow that now only is like now. So there was a point when I actually started the na, and then I came to a o, and then ended with a ow, right? So now is actually expanded like that in the third. In the fourth, it is relatively faster. In the fifth, it is even more faster. So what does it mean? How do I know faster? Faster means, let's say in the third, if I am desiring something, and let's say even if I'm in that point of now, and let's say some manifestation happens because I'm in that perfect synchronization and all of that, then if by the time it actually gets created in my reality, it takes a while because that now is getting expanded, no? So even if you think from some part of that now, in some other part of that now, it actually manifests. But in the fourth, you may think, oh, I wish that I can buy some peanuts today, that fresh local grown peanuts. I wish I can eat it today. By the time you think about it, if you are actually thinking about it, somebody will say peanuts, 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 and then go on the road. So it is like that. Manifesting, you actually desire, and your vibrations are higher, right? So the attraction to get a peanut wala right in front of your house is very high. In the fifth, it is like somebody will knock at your door and then the peanuts are already in your house. They say, hey, I was just trying to, I had grown some peanuts, and then I thought I'll just drop by and then give you some peanuts. So that is faster. But then in the third, if you are in that base of the triangle, what will happen? You are thinking of peanuts, and then even if your vibrations are relatively high or something like that, then it will take a while. You'll go to the market, there you'll see peanuts, and then you'll actually buy peanuts. So it is slightly slower. As you go higher in the dimensions wise, you will actually see that whatever you think will start to manifest very quickly. It may or may not be from a point of ego. We are not talking about that at all. We will not discuss those things, but we'll just say if you think something, it will actually happen very quickly. Just giving you an example of what does it actually mean to for a person to go from third to fourth to fifth. In third, the duality is very high. In third also, there is a frequency band. So because it is in the base of the triangle, time is also in an expanded form and all that. The number of emotions that are available in the base of the triangle, for example, it's like this, right? Triangle. So in the base of the triangle, the width is very, very huge. So there are so many frequency points in the base of the triangle, right? In that third dimension band, frequency band. So the portions that we have to cover for experience, if let's say we are in the third, so many emotions are there. In one frequency, one emotion you can experience. So the if you have to complete the syllabus of third dimension, it is like a lot of syllabus. But as you go to fourth, the syllabus reduces. To go to fifth, the syllabus reduces. Sixth, it even more reduces. Seventh, it is like even more reduces. And then from eighth and onwards, it's hardly any emotion. It's like you're already in, there is no sense of separation at all, kind of thing, right? So this is, so what Earth decided was, she said, I want to experience physicality. And it was more like a telepathic thought. So as soon as she thought that thought, then she sent out a call for help or whatever. And then there were other light beings who came and then who discussed with her. And then they all decided that, okay, fine, we'll form a team and then we'll see how to go about this. She said, okay, fine. See, it's not just I want to experience physicality. What does it mean? It means that, okay, I don't have a body because I'm a soul and all that. So I want to create a physical body, and that physical body, obviously physical means it will be very heavy, because that vibration, because it's slow only, we, so its body means it will be like us, like our body. So if earth has to connect itself to this physical, that body is vibrating at a very slower pace. So she said, okay, I'll create a body which is in the starting from the fifth itself. She doesn't want to go to duality. She said, I'm not going to go to duality, because the more I go to duality or fourth dimension, fifth, third dimension, and all that, my connection to God, that is my connection to who I am, what is my purpose, all of that is actually, I'll not remember, because it's too far from God. That connection is very, very distorted. It is very, very what do you say, intermittent kind of thing. So I don't want to lose that connection. I don't want to lose a sense of who I am, kind of thing. So I don't want to go there to third and fourth. I'll start from the fifth. I'll finish the syllabus in the fifth. I'll experience and all of that. So basically, I'm going to connect. We will have to have a technology where as a soul, I want to be able to connect to this earth body of the earth, which is round or spherical in shape. And then that will evolve. Okay, earth has already, there's no evolution and all for the soul. Okay, it is more about the earth. Now it is physical, right? So the vibrations of that earth from wherever it starts, if it has to move, if she has to move along with this physical body to sixth, if she started in fifth, if she has to move it along from fifth to sixth, then that earth body's vibrations have to actually go higher. How to make it go higher? She has to learn how to live on the fifth dimension. She has to get the wisdom. If there is any misunderstanding and all of the, whatever we are experiencing, all of those kinds of things, she has to experience it, and then she has to gain wisdom from it. She has to be able to let go of the lower frequencies that this earth is carrying. And then as it starts releasing the, I can't say cages, but you can, there is ego there also. So something she will release, like how we are also releasing and all of that, which we'll cover in the future. So she's releasing all of the lower energies, and then that release will make her body lighter. So, and then she'll still be connected, no? So, so this physical body does not have any existence of, it doesn't have intelligence of its own or anything. Who's giving the intelligence? This connection. This earth as a soul is giving all this, what do you say, smartness and energy and all of that. So, it is being powered by the soul of the earth. Okay. So, this is the plan. Now they all came together and they did so for millions of years. They've done work on this, and they created a very beautiful, what do you say, what can I call it, I think they called it, I forgot the names, I forgot the terminologies that they've used in the book, but I think they've created an energy field. In this energy field, they've created 12 dimensions. There were 12 dimensions. So they said, okay, we will cover 12 dimensions in this experiment that Earth wanted. Now she'll start from the fifth. She'll go to sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th. Okay, there are the souls and all have come even from the 40th dimension, 60th dimension, 100th dimension, because there is no end to dimensions in the cosmos. So they have come from wherever they've started there in those kind of dimensions. But Earth started off like this. She said, I want to start from the basic fifth frequency. So they have given sort of for this experiment 12 dimensions. And they did a lot of work to create her body. Yeah, grid. Okay. This is called the 12th dimensional grid. Okay. Now they did a lot of work to create that physical body. And where did all of this body come from? They took the energy from the 12th dimension and then they slowed that energy down. They slowed the vibration to match with the fifth dimensional frequency. So it is like even in our case, right? The trees and all of those things have come from the 12th dimensional space, which is very, very high space. From there, they've actually brought it down and then slowed it down to vibrate at a fifth dimensional space in her case. So all of this work they've done. Then human body also was created. Lots of jugaad they've done. They created a human body. And initially, lots of bodies got destroyed because the soul is very, very high in vibe. What do you say? Its energy is very high. So they had to test how much can this particular body, if I connect to this physical body, how much can I actually, how much energy can this physical body hold? Like, let's say I take a US appliance, like let's say an air fryer or something. I bring it to India. Here it is 240 volts. But then that typically works on 110. Now, if I connect this 110 110 US manufactured appliance to the socket here, it will burn. It will get corroded. Correct. So, but instead of that, if I actually take it down through a step up motor, a voltage regulator, and all of that, then it whatever 240 is coming down, it will step it down to 110, and then it will send to the appliance. Okay, all of this. This is the kind of understanding. So what they did, oh yeah, let's say I'm at 100% volts, but I can't send 100% to this body because this body is vibrating at a very slow pace. So I need to be able to step it down. So they could not directly take that energy and then rather bring it down to this level. So what they did, they created multiple bodies. Okay, one level at the fifth dimensional space, for example, it is not fifth dimensional. At let's say at a space where what do you say, where it is more like a higher self, but which is like guiding from behind. Okay, that kind of thing. And then they created one more level, which is more like an astral body, which is just like a connector with an astral cord and all of that, right? Which is just a connector, which is connecting the higher self to the physical body. Okay, it is more like a connector, but this connector itself, or the subtle body, is what we call, no, the emotional body, the mental body, the astral body, the causal body, all of those kind of, the body that goes from one body to another body after death and all of that. That part actually does not have too much of a role play in terms of intelligence and all of that. It is just like a database. But where is the intelligence or the operating system level information coming from? It is coming from the higher self, which is one level or some levels lower than the actual soul, which was earth or something in this case. So like this, they've created multiple step downs. So each of that one level is connecting to this level, then this level is connecting to this level, then this level is connecting to one more level. So they had to go through those many levels to be able to connect to a physical body. So what actually connects to a physical body is the subtle body, which when the physical body is dropped, right? What sort of gets plugged out and then it gets plugged into another body. No, that is what we are talking about. That really doesn't have any intelligence or anything. It is more like a plug in, plug out kind of thing. It is more like a connector which takes information from here and then sends the information back, takes the information from here, brings it back here. So this, if I am this front end, and if this front end has to seamlessly, like beautifully, if I have to work along with the flow of nature, flow of life, if I have to do that, then my connection should be very seamless. Ego should not be there and all of that. So, okay. So this is what they did. They created this beautiful human body, and very, very, even like 3 to 5 to 10 to 15% is what they could connect. That much only that soul's energy was able to connect to this physical body. And that is at a 10 to 15% is, I'm talking about fifth dimensional space, which means this physical body is only able to connect, only able to receive 10 to 15% of energy of the soul. That much of soul's nature, or whatever you can call it, it is able to remember, or it is able to, how much is necessary for her to
ಕೂಸು
who I am.
ನೋಡಿ ಇವ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಮ್ಯೂಟ್
Can you
ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ.
please mute yourself, whoever this is? Manjula? Okay. So only that much Earth was able to, they were able to decide, yeah, I'm a soul, I'm a connection of God, I'm an offshoot of God, or whatever you can call it. That much she was able to remember. We are in this Earth experiment. All of that she remembers. Now, what has to happen? If she has to go to the sixth dimension, the 10 to 15% energy has to increase. It's like the soul is here only, right? At some level. But this physical body, if the connection has to improve, awareness has to improve and all that, it has to become lighter and lighter and lighter, and the awareness has to improve, frequency has to improve, and then the 10 to 15% will become 20%, 25%. The same body in the past, which was not able to hold and which was actually getting short circuited and all of that, it was burning through the high energy. Now, because it is now able to get trained to vibrate higher through the experiences and all of that, it can now hold more and more and more energy, right? It is the same body, which was not able to in the past. Now it was able to. So they did all these experiments, and then now they came to a rough estimate of how much the energy can go, irrespective of who's coming into, which soul is coming. This much only has to be connected. All of that they decided. And now she said, I want other volunteers also who wants to experience with me. So they called out for volunteers, and then they said, see, we've created this experiment. If you want to participate in this, if nobody knows physical stuff and all that. So it was like a new thing in the market, if you want to call it. So they just wanted to come and then experience this. But they gave some rules. They said, see, you can do creation and all of that because you have the nature of co-creating. You can do creation and all of that. But when you're connected to this physical body or any or while you're inside this space, the 12th dimensional space, you cannot destroy our experiment. Okay. So some of those rules they gave, and people started, rather, the souls started coming in. Some took physical bodies, and then they started experiencing this creation. through the physical body. Now, if you get a new equipment, or if you are, let's say, plugged into a robot, but nobody gives you too much of instructions. They've given instructions, but then people are very curious. Oh, how does this work? Can I pick up this object? Can I pick up that object? All of those things we will do, right? Or we will say, oh, what can I do? Let's say if I'm a gym person or something like that, and then I will try to, with that robot only, I'm going to try to do all my gym work and see whether it's working. So like this, all kinds of trial and errors they started doing. And while in that space, they also created a lot of different things on Earth. Like they created different butterflies, different animals, different lots of different things they started creating. But over a period of time, as time passed, this experiment slowly started taking a downward curve, because people did not realize that they were stepping on somebody else's toes while they were in this experiment. Like, let's say I create a butterfly, and you will say, oh, yeah, this butterfly is so beautiful. See, I'm going to create a better butterfly than you, right? Or let's say I create a deer, and then somebody else will say, I'm going to create a lion who's going to eat up your deer. Let's see how that works. So it was more of competition. It slowly became a competitive spirit. And they knew that they were souls and they can't actually kill each other. All of that they knew. But this competition is more the sense of the fifth dimensional space, actually also the sense of creation. If it becomes more aggressive in nature, comparison kind of thing in nature, they slowly started dropping to lower dimensions, because they started to experience lower frequencies of energy. Because that the kind of what do you say, the emotions that they were starting to experience or express, they were all more competitive, feeling of more separation, power, and those kinds of things started happening. Without even their knowledge, they were sort of dropping. And over a period of time, they started controlling each other. They formed tribes. And then they started saying, we are in this group, you are in this group. We will not, we will, I'll control you, you control me. All of those things started happening. And then there were some of these souls who had come into planets within this 12th dimension. They had come in and formed stars, star systems, Orion belt, and many of those star systems are there, right? So there are beings there also. So they came and then into all of these spaces, and some all of these people were watching. And there were people were going through physical experience, some were watching like this, something and all happened, and then Earth, they realized that she also dropped into third without even having planned for this whole thing. They started off in the fifth. Everything was good. I am different, you're different, but we are all coming from the same source. All of that spirit was there. But in the whole play, everybody dropped to a lower dimension. And at some point, they realized that they had actually dropped so low by rather messing with each other, that Earth was sort of had they had come into duality. In duality, as they started dropping, the connection to the source also started reducing. So the confusion of what is happening. I did something, but it is not getting manifested. I wanted to do, let's say I wanted to create a butterfly, but the butterfly is not actually getting created. So you'll start doubting your own capabilities. What is happening to me? Is something wrong with me? Is something wrong with my body? Maybe I'm connected to the body. So there is so much of confusion, because nobody didn't know what was happening. So in this confusion, they started creating belief systems. Okay, it is more assumption based belief systems. Oh, maybe this happened, that is why this happened. Or maybe I did this, which is why this happened. All of this confusion based belief systems started to get formed, but those did not, it was more like in this connection between source to that body, there was a kind of a disconnect. It was not actually a seamless movement of, hey, this is what you're thinking is wrong. It is not actually like that. There was no communication. So it was all getting collected in the physical body, in the subtle body, mental body, emotional body. It started clogging that, right? There was no room to shed all of these belief systems off because of lack of connection. They had dropped very low, and at some point they see earth was a very high energy being, so she was still in connection despite all of these things. She also was in that state, but then there were these people who were managing earth, right? The light beings who were managing earth. They came into communication with earth. See, Earth was more like a carrier. She didn't have any duality to play and all of that. The people in the place started dropping their energies, which in turn affected the collective energy of Earth and which dropped to third. So it was more like that. So they approached her. They said, "Should we, what do you say, restart from scratch?" Because there was so much of misuse of power happening between the people, and it's not just people, it was at different levels. When you go through the book you will know, but I'm just telling at a high level. Lots of acts to step on each other's, all of that was happening. So they sort of cleared the experiment. People came to such a level, rather beings within that, other planetary beings within this 12th dimensional space itself. They started to how did this human body get created? How is it able to connect to this soul? They were very curious how this is happening, so they started abducting and then doing experiments on this human body. And sometimes the people who are connected to that human body used to you sometimes they would remember, sometimes they would not remember, and then this came as nightmares to them because it was all trapped in their mental body image. So lots of such things have happened in the past, experimentation and all of that. So they eventually wiped out the entire experiment of people. They wiped out all of the people. They said, you go back. All of the souls went back. And then they cleaned all of the physical bodies on Earth, and they started roughly from scratch. Because in the third dimensional space, the human body had to have a different anatomy, and then lots of different things had to be created again and again and all. So they realized that when they started off the experiment, they didn't put a boundary for the earth to start to not drop lower. Okay, then but then over time they've done so many other things, and then they put some clauses and all that. Either way, what has happened is, because of that, because of that, many of the people, many of us who have volunteered to, many of us, many light workers, you can say, many light workers started coming into Earth to help her raise her energy, because it is a collective thing. It is like sum total of everybody sort of feeds into the Earth's energy. So many people came as volunteers, took physical bodies. But once you take a physical body in the third dimension, you'll again forget. Amnesia will start. So somehow they said, okay, yeah, you take the body, we will guide you from somewhere. We will. So there was a lot of plan and all of that. Like that, volunteers came, and then their energy was very high. So that raised the energy of Earth to some extent. Then second wave of volunteers came, and then second wave of volunteers came around, I think, 1950 plus 1950, 1960 to 1990 or something like that. Then third wave of volunteers came from 1990 to 2000 something something. I'm talking about the current century. So all of these volunteers have come, and their focus majorly is to ensure that we wake each other up and we raise our own vibrations and then contribute to the vibration of Earth so that she goes higher. But all of this happened, and Earth is already now in her fifth dimensional space. She, all of the efforts were very successful, and she went off to the fifth dimensional space, which means 50% of her energy got, rather 50, she went off beyond the 50% mark into the fifth dimensional space. So, and they made a rule that she cannot drop lower and all of that. Now, although we contributed to that Earth to go to that level, but we individually may not be, let's say I may have been in third dimensional spaces, but then I still have contributed little. But then where am I still in reference to Earth? If I have to go along with her, then I need to catch up with her. Because if the difference between my energy and her energy is very huge, then it is actually going to cause a lot of problem for this physical body. It can't sustain. It will have lots of let's say diseases and all of those things, because that gap is very high. So we need to catch up with that energy difference between me and Earth, because we are living on her or within her or whatever, right? We are connected to her. So all of this has happened, which is why there's an immediate need for all of us to go into the fifth dimensional space, which is raise our awareness, because all of us have chosen at a soul level to go along with Earth. But there is also what do you say? There are people, they say that, who have told that no, I still want to experience a third dimensional space. My quota is not over. I have not experienced a full syllabus, because it's all more like a learning kind of thing, experience. So they are branching out into another Earth, or they are going to another Earth which has been formed which is more for a third dimensional space experience. And then either they may disappear, which means they might look as if they died from here and they have shifted into that. So many other things have happened, because physically I can't really give you proof for all this. I'm just telling you what was in the book. Okay. So now I let me just show you one thing, Okay. So if you see, um, this is the physical body, right? Now we have we are surrounded, okay? We are encapsulated, you can call it, we are all encapsulated with all of these higher frequency bodies: astral body, mental body, emotional body, all of those. Etheric body is more like a template, that template which will have the information to say how this physical body shape is, form is, and all of those kinds of things. It's more like a template. So astral body is more, so astral body, mental body, emotional body, causal body, all of this is more like a plugging unit. Okay. So what I wanted to show you here is, let's call this one unit. Around me, around every one of us, there is one unit or one bubble like this. Now, if I am one bubble and you are one bubble, and I'm seeing both of us are, let's say, in front of each other, not same time, space, and all of that, but then let's say we are in front of each other. You are throwing some abusive words at me. Those abusive words will actually not get through this filter. These are, it's you're in actually a cushion or a bubble. You can't, that those abusive words cannot get through this bubble, unless there is a belief system in this mental body which says, yes, I need it, allow it to come through. So what does it mean? Nobody can hurt you, nobody can affect you, nobody can, even a war that is going on, even an accident that is going on, or even any kind of crime that is going on out there, as an information, if you hear it, if it comes into your, if it comes, it knocks your door, knocks your bubble, it says knock, knock, knock. Unless you think it is necessary for me, it will not come through. So nothing can actually, it's called this bubble, we'll call them sovereigns. Okay. So nothing can affect this sovereign being unless the sovereign beings decides that yes, it's necessary for me. And how do you know it's necessary? At a soul plan level, it is sort of decided. Which is why experiences and all are coming, right? All your POSCs are coming in front of you so that they can release so many things in your mental body, which what all of these millions and millions of years of bodies that you've taken, different bodies, and clogged it with so many confusions and assumptions and all of those things, belief systems. Mental body has that. Emotional body has the corresponding emotions tied to that. All of that is now there. So, how do you release all of these things? You need an experience coming from outside. You should allow it, and you should apply knowledge and say, yes, it is inside me only. It is not something they are doing for hurting me. They are actually helping me, because there is so much of trash in my bubble that unless they help me remove it, the bubble will not release it. Why will you throw some trash out unless somebody shows you and proves it to you that you have trash? Correct? So it is more like that. Okay. So when we talk about acceptance, we are talking and saying, I am that essence of God. Who is controlling me? I'm more like a puppet, right? This entire this body that is in the center, which actually thinks that I'm doing everything as of now, is actually more like a puppet. In fact, many of these bodies are also puppets here. What is bringing the key information and many of these things is from outside. It's more like a higher self, higher version, which is like fully in awareness kind of thing. That version is called, let's say, higher self. From there, information is coming. So if I'm connected to that higher self seamlessly without any blockages, which in spirituality, in our Bhagavad Gita book and all, it's more called like an instrument. If I am an instrument of this higher self of me only, then I'll actually be in better tune. So what do you mean by if I'm in tune with that higher self? Let's say, for example, I go in front of my wardrobe. Then suddenly you'll get a thought. Let's say you are aware that you are connected and it's all flowing, and let's say you're aware. Then there is that clarity that I have to wear this green dress only today. But in the past, you did not like that green dress. But today, when that inner voice says, oh, wear this green dress today, you will not think twice, because you know that it is actually something, so you're serving somebody behind. So you will wear the green dress and go. And there, let's say, maybe it was a World Environment Day or something like that, and then you totally forgot about it, and then you are perfect in harmony there, and you are also green, everybody is in green kind of thing. So it is in day-to-day life, it actually becomes very seamless. Even if you have to cook something, some that inner connection will be very high, very good. There won't be confusions, there won't be any distorted what should I do, I don't know what to do, I'm in a dilemma, I'm sad. All of that will actually be very less when you're just working like a robot. You just, okay, do this, do that. But you are actually witnessing all of these beautiful things that are happening in front, and you're enjoying more, you're enjoying the process of doing, versus you don't have any connection with the outcome that after you did something. You're just witnessing the outcomes and you're enjoying you're more like in the process of doing only more. So that is what is actually called a sthita pragna state, and even in Bhagavad Gita, where you're like literally in connection with that, the higher self. So since we have collected a lot of baggage, and in each of these past lives, we have created many misunderstandings and baggages, but at that time it was helpful, maybe for that life, some misunderstanding that, oh, maybe I need to stay away from this person because he's always coming and hitting me. It actually makes perfect sense, because he's constantly, let's say that husband is constantly coming and hitting you. You exactly know, you've learned the tricks to stay away from his cane. Otherwise he'll come and hit you. So you've sort of learned the trick how to ensure that he doesn't use his stick. All of that is more fear based, but smartness also, right? But it doesn't serve you today, because there is nobody to hit you. You don't need those skills, so you'll have to release those. But you may still be in fear when some kind of similar energy comes in front of you, and your POSC typically will be the same husband from some past life, because you're sensing the same energy. So he's this time also, when he comes in front of you, you will sense the same fear. But now you don't need it. So now you will actually feel that it is very disturbing when this person comes in front of me. It makes you feel very uncomfortable. So this is where acceptance is needed. See, the universe or this entire orchestration is helping us release all of these things. I'm not planning, right? We just know we are only in this, the awareness is here. Once I finish, once I clean up everything and raise my vibrations so much, I will actually shift my awareness to this level. Then I can understand this level and I can understand what's happening here, which means I'll be able to understand what's happening in my heart. I'll be able to understand what's happening in my kidney. I'll be able to understand, oh yeah, my leg has this problem, so that is why this is happening. So all of that I'll be able to be aware, because that thoughts when it comes about the body, I'm clearly able to understand. So here is okay, then my awareness has to shift here, it has to shift here, it has to shift here. When as my awareness is shifting to higher bodies, the lower bodies will sort of dissolve. Okay? They will dissolve. They are no longer necessary, because now I have sort of gone beyond that point. I don't need a level, multiple levels to connect. I just moved from one level to the next level. It's like I jumped one level, right? I don't need the lower level. I was in the lower level, so that's why they needed a system to connect me to the lower level. But now I only jumped off, my awareness itself jumped off to a higher level. Physical body is there, but that connection now is able to go two steps. Then they dropped one connection here, and then they are able to connect from here itself. So before, what happened, from here to here, they had to pass on the information. From here to here, they had to pass on. From here to here, they had to pass on. From here to here, they had to pass on. Then here, then only it comes to your brain. But now what happens? Let's say from your awareness shifts from here to here. They just have to connect till here. You will be able to understand what to do. Then let's say you jumped till here. Then all that, this much only is the connection that is necessary. Okay. So hence it is important for your awareness to keep increasing. Then clarity will be very high, is what I was actually telling, no, in the classes and all of that. So clarity has to keep improving based on awareness. As you keep going higher and higher, it's actually, when I say higher, it is more about from here, it has to go here kind of thing. It's more at a frequency I'm talking about. Okay, so when we are accepting, why are we accepting? Why did we create all of this in the mental body, in the emotional body and all? What has happened? We have created ego. Ego is there. What is ego doing? I told you, right? We had only 10 to 13, 5 to 10% or something. In third dimension, only 5 to 6 to 5%, 5 to 6, 5 to 7% or something was the connection. So which is absolutely very less. Now, where is all the rest of the 93% of awareness coming from? How do I even live on earth if I'm operating on 7% energy? So where is the rest of it coming from? That sense of thinking and all, it's coming from the ego. ego has ego, it's more like an altered ego in the third space. Altered ego is more like confused ego. All that it knows to do is survive. It is saying, if the lion comes, I am going to either run away from the tiger or fight the tiger, or I'm going to just stand like a statue. Those reactive. It is going to either react or respond. Very reactive, animal-like. Ego in the third dimensional, very beginning stages of third dimension is more like an animal, a human being in an animal state. But as that awareness keeps improving, he will become more like a human being who's able to apply his intellect and think. Because by the time he got to that level of thinking, knowledge also has come. But when that knowledge comes, awareness is also there, energy is also there, then you'll be able to get that clarity and you'll be able to do it. The physical body will able to be do it. Then sense organs will respond accordingly and all of that. It all come together. So because we have collected all of these misunderstandings and belief systems and all of those things at the time, I can't entirely say it's misunderstanding and all that, because in that point it felt very right to you in that awareness and you did something. But today, some of those, you are at a frequency where those lower things will not be able to survive anymore. The lower frequencies will not be able to survive, so they have to be released. And if, say, if you go here, again something has to be released, and if you go here, something has to be released. In the past, when you were here, they were not getting released, they were okay. But then when you go here, that also has to be released, what was there in the past, right? So our job is to constantly let go of belief systems that does not serve us. How do we know what does not serve us? Who is going to tell what does not serve us? From every incarnation to another incarnation, we will have a plan. We will have something called um, akashic record. They call it akashic record, they call it plan, and that is stored in our DNA. Okay. And I'm not going to get into how activations and all that happen, but then let's just understand that how do we know in this life what it is that we need to experience? So that comes as a part of the plan. Now, who is going to trigger these things that are within us, which is which needs to be let go, or which needs to be experienced and then released off? In the past, it was not released, which is why it is still not yet experienced. Now, when that experience has to come out, it has to be triggered by somebody. Now, who can trigger it? There is, last week, I think I discussed about POSC. So, some person, some object, some situation, or some experience will be planned at a higher self level. Okay, higher self is sending all this as per the plan that was made before the incarnation into the body. So, because of that plan, experiences, all of that will start happening. We, because of the plan only, we chose the family, we chose our partners, we chose a set of people who are all in our life. And we told those people, you behave like this, all of that we've told. So everybody in our reality is going to come and then show us who we are. See, it's like this. In the topmost level, if God is actually looking at his own mirror and experiencing, at our level also, we are looking at our own reflection and experiencing. In every single level, every person is God, and every person, God is actually looking at his reflection and experiencing. In our level, our experience is coming from the reality that we have around us. At my level, I have created all these things. At some other level, somebody else has created their own reflections. So, as God, at all levels, God has created his reflections, and at all levels, parallelly, every God or every version of God or every avatar of, okay, every, not, they are not separated, but let's say they're all one, but still at every level, God is experiencing some form of reflection. So if I am seeing my own reality, I have my husband, let's say I have my daughters, then I have, let's say, my mother and all of those people in their own behaviors, in their own experiences, they will come and then trigger in me what is trapped in my mental body, which I have not released yet, belief systems. So this is what they will come and trigger. Now, what is your job? Your job, in the past, what were you doing before this class? You were saying, he is always like that. Every time he hurts me, he doesn't even help me. He doesn't even do this. So we will keep blaming somebody else. Okay. So we will, that is all, it's very easy because we have learned that habit over a period of time. Let's say somebody does not listen to you. What will you do? Ego needs to have an explanation to actually give it a logical conclusion, and then it is put at rest. Because if something does not have a logical conclusion, it will be very restless until it looks for some answers, which is why we are constantly looking for answers. Have you noticed you're always looking for answers? That answer, nobody even has proof whether that answer is right or wrong. You can say, see, I got stomach pain today. I know it is because of that pani puri that I had in that gadi. That guy, I think he was washing the plates in some dirty water, which is exactly why I got stomach pain today. How can you prove it? You can't prove it. But it sort of works with your belief system. It makes you feel really convincing because there are attached belief systems which says dirty water has, let's say, microbes in them. It will give rise to amoebic infections. There is another belief system like that. So, like that, there are nested belief systems which you have been carrying across from life. So, it is a very convincing answer to say, why do I have stomach pain today? Because of XYZ reasons. It now it you are rested. There is no restlessness inside you. But then if there is some situation, let's say your friend told you that he's going to call you or she's going to call you, but then he did not call at all. Or you had one best friend and then suddenly she left college, she didn't tell you anything, no contact, nothing. And then she went away. How will you feel about it? There is no logical conclusion to that. Why did she leave me? Did I do something? Did I hurt her at some point? You'll be cooking up some stories. See, this is where belief systems get formed. So, like that, we've formed thousands of belief systems, millions and millions of belief systems like this. Imagine there is no end. Even 1 minute only, so many belief systems we are creating. So many thoughts, unnecessary thoughts we create. And then the way this entire thing is structured, anatomy is structured is God will send one thought, soul will receive it, and in the emotional body, it will experience the emotion, and then it will release it through the physical body as a smile, or as a happiness, or as a hug, or as some kind of jumping or dancing or something. Okay, it came, the energy came, the thought came, it was converted to energy, and then it was released through the physical body. But many times, what we have done in the third dimensional spaces, the thoughts have come. It may not be God because ego is also creating its own repeat loops and all of that. So thoughts are there. Thoughts are getting converted to emotions. Emotions are not getting converted to actions. It is suppressed. Now, where will all of this energy go? It will get collected inside the physical body, which is where chakras get clogged. Chakras are like rotating fans. What they are meant to do is take in the energy from inside, throw it outside. Take in the energy from outside, bring it inside. So it's more like we are conduit of energies. But then once we started clogging by not releasing, because ego did not want to release it. Let's say now you wanted to shout at that person who did not call you back or something, but then who will you shout at? He's not there in front of you. So all of that suppressed energy is there. And there is no answer to why he did not call you at all. And this sort of restlessness will keep bothering you all your life. Why did he go away? Why did he go away? Why did he go away? So it'll eat you alive. Over time, maybe you'll forget. But then that clogged up energy when it was all fresh, multiple times thinking and not releasing and all of that, it'll all stay clogged. So this would have and then what will you do? Over time, you will become very restless and then you will not even learn to trust new friendships. You'll not make new friends because you'll feel that, oh, if I make new friends now, what if they also leave me and go? And because you have that kind of energy and that kind of fear and all of that, repeatedly those kind of situations will happen. People will leave you and go. Now you will be like, I'll not make any friends at all because there is something within me. They are leaving me and going without me telling anything. So you will create some cooked up stuff, belief systems like this. Trust itself will actually go off from you. It is, let's say it's also an experience, but then it is going through your emotional and mental body, in a, which is not aligned with God. So then, even though such experiences will come, then they will teach you how to trust. They will teach you how to trust. So acceptance, what is acceptance doing here is, I am God, but in my current level of awareness, I have all of these clogging inside me, in my emotional body and my mental body, which has, of course, also which has also affected some physical body parts and then caused diseases and all of that. So, when people come in this form, POSC form, to excavate what is within me, whatever they do, it is irrelevant. But what you need to focus on is what is coming outside me at that time. For example, in that example that Roshni told, where she has in her building, in her apartment complex, some other buildings are sort of, the balcony and all is falling off, and it's an old building, so balcony and all is falling off. So she was scared that what if that happens in her own place and the building falls apart, and immediately they'll have to sort of look for another place. They may not have time. So she was anticipating some of these challenges and she was in fear. Like this, when the building and many of these things have done many things. But what you have to focus on is, what is it actually triggering within you? Because your focus is to remove what is within you. That the story and the drama will come in any way, in any shape or form. The story and drama might come. Your job is not to go deep into that story and drama, because it will get caught. It will catch you, and then you will get caught in that whole loop. It's not, that should not be your focus at all. Your focus should be to come back to yourself and watch and see what is happening within me. What is that emotion that is trying to come out from within me? Now, let's say anger is now coming out. You feel angry. For example, in my recent thing, let's say my mother was playing some Vishnu Sahasranama from some other person, okay, from some other male singer. But I am used to hearing it so much from MS Subbalakshmi, right? It was actually not sitting properly in my head, because that male voice was somehow not. So, what was my ego doing? I was watching. My ego was disliking the male, the male version coming and then saying this is Vishnu Sahasranama. Because my internal belief system is beautiful Vishnu Sahasranama from MS Subbalakshmi. It's like it all sits, it's like a puzzle, it sits nicely inside the cage. So now ego is getting disturbed, because that cage, which had its belief system that MS only is actually a great singer for Vishnu VSN. So now this is not matching, right? So it gets disturbed. So at that time, my job is to not go and then make that VSN stop. That is easy. Okay, which is what we always do. We go and tell, okay, stop that VSN, play MS. Maybe my brother will play also. But then in that irritation, in that frustration, in that solid male voice singing Vishnu Sahasranama, which was not even melodious kind of thing, I have to be able to stay with that discomfort and be able to say, oh, this is sounding irritating to me, because that irritation is within me, and this POSC is actually, this kind of playing is happening in my reality because it wanted to remove the belief system that MS's thing only is great, or that irritation. It's more than the drama or the meaning, MS, VSN and all of that. It's more about, I have that irritation when somebody plays something that is not agreeing with my belief system. So I have to remember. Maybe first time I did not do that. When it actually started happening, it was more disturbing for me. Then later on, I asked my mom, why do you play that? Then she said, his pronunciation and all is very nice. So that's why somebody told me to play that. That's why I started playing. I heard it and I stopped. Then the next time I have told her, can you play MS Subbalakshmi's thing only? See, these are stages. Because initially the ego was still trying to change the reality. It was trying to fix the reality to make sure it is suiting its own cage. It was trying desperately to see how to fix this entire thing to ensure that they don't disturb my cage, my belief system. Inside, there is an irritation which should not get released or whatever. So then the next time has not happened yet. So next time, but I'm watching, right? Next time, as awareness improves, how will awareness and all improve? We have rather I do chanting and all that, right? So over a period of time, it becomes very real. It feels that actually this is within me, so I don't have to. So by in installments, that thing will keep getting released. Because the more you keep saying, yes, it's within me, which is why that trigger came. It's within me, that's why the trigger came. I don't have to go fix my environment. The environment is already perfect. It is already coming perfectly fine to help me release what I don't need so that I can raise my vibrations. I can go higher, evolve higher. My body can evolve higher. All of that. Because my soul wants to take, let's say, Smita's body only into higher dimensions. But what if Smita's ego is still not able to live up to that expectations? Because that ego is so strong, it needs a lot more, let's say, beating to be able to tame it down. Then maybe what if Smita's body is not able to do it? Then it'll take one more body, and then maybe in that body, the ego will be relatively less. Because it is when you go into another body, the amount of work you've done to suppress your ego here, rather more than to tone down your ego here, will actually get reflected in that body because it is happening at a subtle body level, right? All the changes are happening at a subtle body. It'll get plugged into another physical body after Smita's body is dropped. Maybe that will be taken to full self-realization. But today, in this moment itself, there is scope for this body only to become immortal. Immortal means where there is no birth and death cycle at all, where you've released all of the mental body emotion. Let's say chuck, 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 triggers are coming, and then chuck, 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 you're going like following like a process. Yes, I accept, yes, I accept, yes, I accept. All beautifully, it's all happening. So if that is what you are, then in this moment itself, it's all over. But we are not doing that majorly because our egos are very strong. It is not willing to release whatever it is stuck here. We are holding on to this. So it is this knowledge that I need to look within and see what it is trying to release. And then whatever is trying to release is more like a shelf life. Has now its shelf life has reached the maximum limit. It's all that frequency which needs to be released. So what is that? That anger, when that somebody makes you trigger that anger, that you should say, oh yeah, this anger was actually within me and I need to just accept it. That's all, that it is within me, it's within me, it's within me. Keep repeating every single time it comes to you. Just keep repeating the same experience. Every time you're in that state of acceptance, accept or acknowledge that it is within me kind of thing, then you are not blaming that POSC for bringing that experience to you and making your life miserable, which is what we do. No, we tell you made my life miserable. I don't like you. You are like this. You are like that. We blame the environment. We blame the situation. We blame the experience. We blame God. We blame all of them. But we forget to look why they even came into my reality. What are they even trying to show me? Many times we say, what is the lesson that I have to learn? In spirituality, you will hear this. Now, what is the lesson I have to learn? It's a very complex thing because we are not at a level where we are very good in cooking up reasons, sorry, cooking up stories. Oh, what is my lesson? We'll cook up some more lesson there. It is again probably another belief system we are trying to cook up. So don't even try to see what lesson you're learning. Just watch the emotion that is bothering you from within you, because that emotion, the presence of that emotion actually, when that emotion surfaced out, you felt uncomfortable. So acknowledge the presence of that coming out of you. That's more than enough. Acknowledge. There is no need for you to take any action on that also, because you can't take action. You are not having any power to even change yourself. But then when you acknowledge that you means that ego, you're training the ego. You're training the ego to say, it is within me. That is why I'm getting disturbed. You don't have to go and then try to cook up reasons to make yourself comfortable. This was the reason. Look within you. The anger was within you. It's more of a teaching the ego to actually see. Ego just wants a convincing answer. So you are teaching the ego to get a convincing answer that this is why it was already within us, which is why we felt uncomfortable. You don't go and blame the environment, okay? It is more like that, okay? So once you keep teaching the ego will learn to become more sattvic. It is more toned down, less angry, those kinds of. It'll actually start to become more docile, more what do you say, like a tamed animal, okay? Then, in that state of acceptance, surrender it to God. Just say, God, I now accept that it is within me. Now you do whatever you want. It is more like a permission slip that you're giving to God. I give you permission. God is like that inner connection that we have, right? I'm giving permission for you to do some sweeping and mopping inside. So whatever now it has been targeted for sweeping and mopping has been accepted to mop and sweep. Okay, that is a surrender. Surrender is more like a I surrender to you, God. So now it's more like you can take care of this kind of thing. So God at that moment will actually, that connection will immediately be established. Immediately the cleaning will be done. Immediately it will actually show results. It is so quick. Today, I think in the group, somebody had posted, right? It was so quick. She, at that moment where she was in fighting mode and all of that, at that moment, she knew, rather, she was aware that, okay, this is the moment I need to apply. Oh, it's see, all of this disturbing stuff is happening. Pose is all in under attack in that war zone. She was actually in a war zone. And that moment, Krishna was telling her Bhagavad Gita. It was more like that. And then she was that Arjun who was willing to surrender to that Krishna. And then she said, yes, Krishna, I surrender to you. I accept whatever is happening within me. I accept my ignorance that whatever is coming out is me. It is not them. And then she said, I surrender to you. I surrender to you as a disciple. She did that. Immediately the war was won. Immediately. We saw that result, right? But then how difficult it would have been for her to be able to say, to not be able to shout back at the husband, shout back at the son, because there are habits, there are belief systems which will actually so convincingly tell you, you need to tell them, otherwise they will not, whatever, do this. She was able to overcome all of those things and then be able to say no, I this is the situation where I need to accept all this teaching from class. I'm accepting whatever emotions that are coming out of me, and I got surrender. Surrender means, I'll talk about it in the next class majorly, but surrender is surrendering to the God that is already within you and ensuring that the ego steps down. So what does it mean? I am doing my job of accepting what is happening to me. How rest of the outcomes are going, what are the next things that are going to happen? I don't know, but I'm okay. I'm mentally ready to face every single outcome that happens after this. That is surrender. At all points, we have to be surrendered, ideally. Then the connection will be seamless. It will be total connection. It's like electricity is flowing in and out, in and out, in and out like this. But now there's a short circuit because we are not always connected. Sometimes ego is in the play, and then we are not allowing, we are in resistance mode and all of that. So ego has created all of these things for us to feel safe. But then this is in the class, what we are learning is to clean up all of these things that will show up. Rather, when the experiences come, it is actually trying to take out something that is ready to be taken out. There are so many things that are still not ready to be taken out. When the time is come, when the time is ripe, it will also be ready. But today, whatever is ready, your family, your people around you will actually show it to you. Your experience and situation will show it to you. Be ready to be ready to accept it and then surrender, and then the cage will melt. It is like imagine a cage. Inside that there is one trapped emotion. Let's say limited feeling emotion is there. But no, it's not limited feeling emotion. It's a proper emotion and only. It's like a divine emotion only. Even fear, anger, everything is God. Even there is a divine. It has also been created because of God only. But then what this cage is doing, right? The trap, the ego has created a trap around it. It says, yeah, anger is bad, fear is bad. All of this, it has put one cage around it and it has trapped it with these belief systems. So now what we are trying to do is when these emotions are trying to come out, or when they show that it is actually trapped like this, we are saying, yes, I understand that it is trapped within me and I acknowledge it. And God, I surrender to you means then what will happen? God will try to break this cage and remove the feeling of limitation. Then there is nothing to bind this, no? This fear will just disappear. So that is why acceptance is very important. And the more you keep getting cleaned like this, right? The more you keep getting let down, let out, let out, let out, let out. This energy that was trapped will actually go get converted to light. That part that was feeling limited within you, that is not feeling limited within you. You still have that anger. You still have the fear. Nothing will leave you. It's just the feeling, the meaning called limitation, or the definition called limitation is leaving you. That's all. But the fear and anger and all is still within you. You are God. You are meant to have everything within you in this very moment, but labeling, not have them labeled as this is bad and that is bad. What you're removing is the labels only. You're not removing any emotion from within you. When that anger goes off, it means that the limited feeling that you had within you actually went. The anger is still there. You're still one whole superset of everything. You will always be a superset. Hence the acceptance. It is not release. It is the acceptance feeling means, yes, I'm that God. Yes, I have this limited feeling within me. And God, the one with inside me, you please help me destroy that limitation, separation feeling, all of that which we have. So that is happening through surrender. Because you can't destroy that cage. You can't destroy the limited feeling. God has to destroy it. The one which inside you, because ego has to give that permission slip. Ego has to step down. When you accept, ego will step down. So it is a process of you stepping down the ego and saying, yes, I'm willing to look at somebody superior, take charge of the situation because I am now letting it go. Otherwise, what is the job of the ego? It will never let go. It will always try to be in control. So here, you're just letting it go. So it is a process of ego slowly stepping down, stepping down, stepping down, stepping down, stepping down. And ultimately, ego stepping down means limitation stepping down. It means that the body is evolving, going to higher frequencies. Now it is able to hold a higher frequency because that much of resistance which the ego had is now dropped. It's like electricity only. If you have a resisting switch or something in between, electricity was flowing seamlessly, but now you added a switch in between. Now there is an off switch and an on switch. Then if you switch it off, there is resistance. So now the electricity is not flowing. But then if you switch it on, now you have established that connection. Before that, it was when the off switch happens, it is the coils are becoming like this. So which means there is no current can't pass. But then when the on switch happens, they come together. Then electricity can pass. So ego is more like that. It is a resisting coil kind of thing. If you insist that my situation has to be like this only, that is resistance. If you say, I have preferences, this has to happen like this only, it has to happen like that only. I always want curd rice in the end. All of these are preferences and insistences that are belief systems that are keeping us limited, right? Very simple things. So hence, accept. This is what is called acceptance. It's more like a um, ticket to grow higher and higher. Okay, so the more we get cleaned up, trust me, environment will actually change, which means your reality will change. Reality will also start improving its experiences, which means your body is also a part of your reality. So your body will also start becoming healthy suddenly. It is actually a miraculous thing. Body will also start becoming healthy, irrespective of what you're doing. So this is very important. If you master acceptance and surrender, there is nothing else you need to master. In my limited capacity, I'm telling you, at least now. Maybe there is something else, but I don't know. But as far as I've observed in the last many years across my evolution, I have noticed that surrender has always been a common factor in everything. It is important that unless we surrender to the divine and establish that connection and drop the ego's resistance, there is no way change is happening in your life. Whether it is health, whether it is wealth, whether it is relationships, absolutely there is not going to be any change that is seen because ego is still controlling your life. So it is important to learn surrender and acceptance. And this is if you keep applying only this process again and again and again and again and again, there is no complexity also. It is not even rocket science. We don't need education also to do this. We don't need any kind of education to do this. All that you have to be is willing to be able to say, when that somebody triggers it to me, what am I actually seeing in my head? What is coming out? What emotion is coming out? Oh, this is the emotion coming out. Sometimes you can't even label. Oh, sometimes you can say fear, sometimes you can say anger, sometimes mixed emotions will come out. You won't even be able to say what is coming out. But all you should remember is there is some feeling of uncomfortable feeling or discomfort is coming out. Some discomfort is happening. I'm not proper. I'm not happy. I'm feeling, I'm not okay. That much is enough. So I'm not okay now because some I'm not okay now is happening inside me. That is more than enough. You don't even need English to be able to label this. You just need to understand, oh, something like this is there, something like this needs to be accepted. That's enough. It's more of a mind thing, right? There's no need for language here. I'm bringing language. I'm just trying to make it more understandable. But you don't need language also for this. You just have to say, ah, this is happening. This is happening. You should be able to understand, ah, this is happening. Oh, I'm accepting this. Just say, I'm accepting this. Without even saying, I am accepting this, you're just thinking. And then in that thinking itself, you're just saying, okay, God, it's like you going and imagine you are um, um, that story, that HFN story, like heartfulness meditation story, I had sent. In that, that guy suddenly turns to God because he had given rat poison to somebody. Because he was so desperate that somebody doesn't have to drink rat poison and die. Remember, right? That story where the father, I don't know if people have read, I'm just going to tell the story. The father had was very pious, and he used to do puja to one photo in the shop every single day, in maybe medical shop every single day. And then he used to wipe the photo and all that. Then the son, who was also there, he was very scientific in nature, very logical and all of that. So he never would believe God, and he would say, I don't believe in all these things. And he would have his own reasons to why not believe in God. Then when the father's turn to die had come, he says, the only thing I ask from you is to be obedient for this. Just wipe the photo. And if there's anything that you can't control, whether you feel desperate or whatever, turn to God. That's all he said. And and so this son was just wiping I don't think they mentioned about wiping the photo and all, but once what happened, there was no current, and somebody had there was a rat problem, so somebody had actually given him rat poison, so he had kept it on the shelf because he didn't have place or something in the darkness. Then one boy comes running and says, my mother is very sick and she needs medicine. So he gives medicine, but he actually gives them the rat poison. But then the boy goes off. Now he realizes, oh my God, I've given rat poison to that child. And the mother will feed the rat poison him from the son's hands only, and she's going to die. It makes him feel miserable. I committed such a big crime without even knowing. So this should not happen. So who now he remembers his father's words and he turns to God and he says, God, I surrender this to you. Please take care of this. It I know it's like, see here, ego has no role to play. What can the ego control here? The boy is now disappeared. We don't know his house, we don't know anything. Now, what will the ego do? So, this is where ego is willing to surrender. So, when the ego thinks it has options, I can go tell them and do something, I can go search the boy's house, then he wouldn't have turned to God. You turn to God. Typically, the nature of turning, when do we turn to God? When are we able to surrender? Is when we have ego has no role to play. It is out of ideas. That is when we go to God. That is when surrender is very effective because you have no choice. But you should practice and believe that you have no choice every single time. That is when surrender practice comes very easily and you are aligned with the divine. It works magically. But you should make it a habit of believing that you don't have any control because you are the ego. That is where knowledge comes. So he turned to God and then he said, help and all of that. Then immediately the boy came and then he said, I dropped the medicine bottle. Can you please give me one more bottle? So that is how he saw the power. Because see, everything is happening in the now moment. It is not like, oh, he went 10 minutes back and then I am asking for God now. How will that boy immediately come after 10 minutes? Rather, he has to walk back 10 minutes. It's see, this is where logic and all comes, but there's no logic when it comes to God. God would have also anticipated. I mean, that's all again cooked up reasons. So, anyway, this is what is acceptance, brief explanation of what is surrender, and this helps us to become that whole. So the idea is whichever soul is connected to this body, there should not be any difference between the body and the soul. At some point, the body should keep raising higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, and then both frequencies have to match. However high the soul is, the body should eventually go to that level. At least till the seventh dimension, there is body. After that, the body will become light. It will become a light body. Again, it will become energy. That it will still have shape and form and all of that until some point, but it will still be that kind of thing. So this body which went to higher level, it can also reduce its vibration and then come to third, come to fourth, come to fifth. It knows the knowledge of how to go up and down now. That is why you may have seen many of the gods, right? In stories and all we see, oh, God just appeared in front of some rishi after he did tapas. So that is what they were actually talking about. So somebody who was able to go to that level will also be able to come down based on his willingness or based on his discretion. So any doubts here? I think Sabna was asking some question. Let me just take that question. Just give me a minute. You said is okay. You said you said God's a reflection is all of us as he created us to get experience. Then why is this murder accidents and such things happening? Is God wanted people to do such things and experience such pain? The person who did is to blame. Okay, who is to blame? So when you look at this, what did I tell you? A reality. Who created this reality? I only created my reality. Why did I create this reality? Why are all of these experiences coming to me? At a soul plan level, all of these experiences are coming to me because they need to come and trigger something from inside me. So, what is inner reality where you have a belief system that these experiences are bad. Let's say some accidents, murder, all of these things are bad. So that is a belief system. It rather, it is an experience. Something is happening, but it has no label. It's like, imagine everything is white light. But then if you look at it from your glasses, which are colored in yellow, then something in front of you, which is plain white also, will look yellow to you. Correct? So whatever glasses we have, whatever color of glasses we have, so everything is filtered through the lenses that we have here in this mental and emotional body. So I see the world through the filters that are coming, that are there through the belief systems that I have in my mental body, through the emotions that are there in my emotional body. So hence, what should I do? I should only look at the triggers that are inside me and say, oh, these are actually not bad. There is nothing called good and bad. They are just experiences. But I am getting disturbed by all of these things and I'm blaming God for it. But I am only that God because I only created such a reality. But why would I create such a reality? Because maybe there is something in me that I have to observe. So, this is what is the way we need to think, right? So, there is nothing wrong in all of these things. But what you should remember is, if some of these things, which typically are, um, let's say, low in vibrations, murders, violence, and all of these things, it only should reflect back and say, why am I creating such a reality? Why am I not creating beautiful stuff in my reality? Because I'm coming from a place of that kind of vibration. As of now, I'm in that vibration. That is why I'm seeing that in my reality. So I should be able to clean up a lot more. Accept your creation. More than blaming God, blaming murderer, blaming the person who put the accidents, whatever wars and this and that. Don't blame anybody. You are the one to blame because it's there in your reality only. So instead of, you can't blame anybody, you can only accept yourself the way you are, the way you created, and just say, oh, I may have created it for the right reasons. So just leave it as it is. There can't be any changes done in that, but I can definitely work on myself and then see if such an experience keeps coming back in my reality in future. Observe, do some inner work, whatever we are discussing here. Revisit and see whether it is constantly still coming. If you have done real work, because there anyway you can't change that, whatever you're seeing or whatever you're hearing or whatever you can't change, let's say. So why don't you do what you can do, which is focus on what you can do, which is accept what the fears and irritations and frustrations and blaming and all of that you have. When you do all this inner work over a period of time, such things will not even come into your ears or your eyes. They'll not come into your reality at all because it doesn't make any sense for you, because there's no learning from that. You already learned, you accepted that. See, accept everything in front of you because you only created it. And why you created it, we can't give you that answer. You also will not get that answer because that needs a very high level of awareness to understand why you created it. But it's better to not ask this question, why. There is no answer to the question called why. But there is definitely the question, answer to the question called, how can I, how can I go about accepting this? What is the process? So follow the process and then things will definitely start improving in your life. And all of these belief systems that says this is bad, that is bad, it's all getting filtered through a belief system. It is made up. It may be made up in many people. It may be a common belief system that is there in many people at a collective level, but it is still a belief system that needs to be let go through knowledge, by bringing in that knowledge. Okay, fine. Any doubts? Oh. Sangeeta, the question. Tell me, Sangeeta.
So in this heartfulness story, you mentioned when ego has no choice, surrender is easy. Now, suppose the boy was known to the shopkeeper, and in that case, he had a choice. He could,
Mm-hmm.
maybe he has the contact information, he could
Correct.
contact him and tell.
Correct. Correct.
Now, at this time, what would be the right thing to do? Contact or just easily surrender?
He will contact. He will contact,
Yeah.
and maybe there is nobody to pick up because the boy may not have reached home. Then he'll still be restless. He'll keep trying. He'll keep trying. He'll keep trying. So then it all depends on chance. The boy may pick up the phone. He may not pick up the phone. So
So,
yes, ego will definitely keep trying all these options.
so our
There
ego
needs to
will
be that
try to
feeling.
change whatever we can change.
Yes.
Wherever we have influence, we try our best effort. But where we don't have influence, in those cases, don't lose hope, just surrender.
It is, see, it's like this. In many cases, we will keep doing our best because that feels right to us.
Hmm.
But over a period of time, as you keep doing surrender in many other areas which you don't have a choice, let's say, that where you've seen results, and then you feel that when you try, it may not be so rosy or it may not be so great, you'll apply the learnings from that in this also, and you'll actually start trying here also, even if you have a choice. It is more like a learned thing, it's an acquired skill. It will come. So, which is
But
surrender
going,
practice will now become more
hmm,
efficient.
but going for only surrender and not doing anything on our own, won't that be
Yeah, yeah.
laziness?
See, surrender is not doing anything. Surrender is you're still doing something. What are you doing? For example, I've given this example. So my daughter, when she was supposed to go to US for higher studies, we had not got COVID vaccination done because not because COVID had some chemicals, vaccination had chemicals, and there's mindset. But then it was more about, if I'm taking the vaccination, it's about me disbelieving the future. So, which means I don't have belief in the future that is coming to me, kind of thing. So I'm in fear. So with that mindset, we did not go. I did not go for the vaccination. Then it was for the kids also. I did not give. And the situations also turned where we did not have to take. But my husband took. He had to go to office and all of that. There was a rule. So when she had to fly abroad, there was airlines. For airlines also had some rules, but by the time we started booking and all of that, the airlines had lifted that rule. So that went. But then the college still wanted the vaccination certificate. They had rules. Then at that time, those days, I was still in the feeling that, oh, we should not go through vaccination and all of that. But then what choice did I have? Because she was a person who said, Amma, it's okay. There was an option. There was an option to get fake certificates done because many people had got it done. But then her, so far, what have I taught her? I've taught her to be ethical, truthful, and all of those things. All that gyan you give them, raise them as a good teenager, and now you go and tell them, let's get fake certificates done. Will she agree? No, she said, no, I can't live with that conscience. It's okay, I'll go get it done. Whatever happens, let's see. So she was with that mindset. But then I also had to accept, no, it was my reality. So I told myself, so although we did have an option, that door also got closed because she rejected that. So all the choice that I had left, uh, that I was with was, okay, what are the options that I have? I didn't have any like actions per se, but then I had to prepare my mind to be willing to let go of this um, limited feelings I have and the preferences of outcomes that I have. So it is the work that we are doing is to remove the preferences that we have. That's it. That is also still work that we are doing only. So when you do that kind of work mentally and then leave it, then what are the outcomes? I went over in my mind, okay, one outcome is she might fall sick. Then I told myself, okay, if she falls sick, anyway, we are nature cure, whatever I know in nature cure. So we will work and then we will detox ourselves or whatever. I just told myself we will do some juicing, this, that, whatever I told myself. Okay, then she goes to US and then falls sick. Do I have any control on that? No. I just said, okay, fine. Whatever happens, it happens. We will see when the time comes. Then there was one option because there are so many people who died, let's say, in the vaccination. That was that was also some rumor. So let's say, okay, if she dies after the vaccination, I can't do anything about it. That's also one of the outcome. I said, fine, okay. If that has to happen, death is something that the soul plans and comes. It's not something that happens with vaccination or cancer or whatever. Okay, if that is her plan, so be it. I'm okay with that also. I became mentally ready for that also. So like that, I went through many of these choices and I said, okay, fine, okay, fine, okay, 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 okay. What happened? Along with this COVID vaccination, she had to give even other immunization records also. We had thrown those records because it was so dirty that she was 17 and then we had given only for first 5 6 years. So that certificate, whatever that sheet had become so not so great that we thought we didn't need it, and we by the time we shifted from one house to another house we had thrown it, so we didn't have any records. So we I did go and I didn't surrender, okay, in this case. So let's say I went and asked the doctor, can you please give one more certificate, that we had come to you only, right? He said no. Oh, there is one vaccination that you haven't taken yet, recently it has come, I'll give that. We were like, what? And then he said 4,000 rupees for that. I said, doesn't make any sense. And then we stopped contacting him. What else you can do now? Meanwhile, this COVID thing and all happened, and COVID vaccination story happened. And then I had surrendered after this. And then I said, okay, I have no choice. This doctor is also acting crazy. And then all of this is happening. And then she's also saying no fake certificate. What else choice do I have? I have to prepare myself for all these outcomes, because that is also an effort. It's an effort that I had to do, because some preferences were there, some preferences were not there. I did that. What happened overnight was suddenly my husband, overnight, he got up and he felt like going and seeing one document, some web page. And then he saw that they had lifted all of those needs for immunization records and all of that as of so and so date. She didn't do any vaccinations when she went to US. She didn't give any vaccination records to when she went to US. And then this has not happened to any of my friends who sent their kids abroad. She is the only one as far as I've known. How did this happen? Nobody can believe this, but she's living that reality. How can you explain this? You can't explain, because there are thousands, every possible reality has already been created. But are you willing to go and then connect to that? We don't know whether that exists or no. We don't know how to go there, how to even get to that reality. All that we are saying is, I am just giving you a permission slip to just take me wherever it is supposed to be favorable, kind of thing. See, as you keep practicing surrender, right, it becomes so addictive, because it is so beautiful. The feeling is so beautiful when you connect with that energy, and the outcomes, the way it comes and all that. You may have thought about 10 outcomes, because now your mind only thinks about, let's say, five, 6 outcomes. But there are other outcomes which you haven't thought about also, no? That will come. And you'll be like, oh my God, I did not even think about this. This is so beautiful. These things happen in surrender. These things don't happen when your ego is controlling, because you are limited. This becomes addictive. This feeling of that result, the way it actually, the experience that you get with surrender is very addictive. The more you practice, the more you practice, the more you practice in all areas and all, right? You'll actually want to apply in areas where you think you have control also. And this is where Bhagavad Gita's Karmanyavadikaraste Stotra comes in. You do your action, leave the rest to God. But then this you do your action also will actually eventually get filtered, and then there is no doership over a period of time. See, when they said no doership, you are actually doing the action, but you're thinking that I am not doing it. I'm just a medium to get this done. It's more a mental thing. It's not a physical thing. You are still going and doing many things that you think is right, but you're just thinking that God made me think like this, and I'm working he's working through me, kind of thing. So there is no Inaction, when does inaction happen, right? Let's say somebody gives you work and you are not doing that. Typically, we are lazy, or we think there are no benefits from that work, or some few reasons like that. We don't see value in that work, which is why we don't do. There is no priority in our head. That is why there is inaction. But then, if you think that everything that comes to you is for your action, there is no inaction possible. I mean, physically, I'm talking about. It is
So
more
in this
of a,
vaccine,
as we keep going,
hmm.
it will sort of improve. Yeah, what was your question?
So in the vaccine situation also, the ego was acting to
Mhm.
control things in the beginning, but
Yes,
eventually you surrendered and things got better after that.
yes.
Now, if a similar situation comes again, then that initial effort of ego trying to control things, we can skip that part and
It's not
jump to
easy to
surrender.
skip that part depending on how
Mm.
strong the habits are and all of that. It will not, which is why we are still not completely there yet, no? We
Mm.
have not completely evolved sort of yet. Because there are so many deep rooted habits, it will come very naturally, especially when it comes to a family setup and all of that. There are some very deep rooted habits, very, because where attachments are very strong, it'll it'll hold us, which is where we have to do a lot of chanting and gratitude practice and more training the mind to look at positive things and all of that. That energy will sort of push you. It'll sort of give you that lift and then take you into that higher state of vibration. There you'll be able to think. There that awareness and clarity will come. There you'll be able to apply and let go of that cage. But one from that point also we can again drop. We can
Mm.
drop and again experience some of these limited feelings. It is not like once we reach some point of, let's say some higher level, there is never getting lower kind of thing. No, if we don't practice, if we don't consistently do, keep being aware to keep applying our principles and stay there, we will probably keep dropping, which is why this sadhana of daily spiritual practice is very important. Until we self realize ourselves and realize that everything, I am here everywhere. People are spiritually evolved in many cases, but they are not self realized, because self realization is a very, very last thing to happen. And so many people will have lots of siddhis, they'll have lots of like gifts and other things they will experience, which is why you see a lot of followers and all of that. But at that point, it's very easy to get carried away into the world and think that I'm helping the world. The world doesn't need any help. It's your own reality. Why does it need any help? It's only trying to help you. Nobody needs any helping. But people think I need helping. We need to write books and we need to show all of these things. We need to, like, somebody needs saving. All of that will come. Maybe it's a part of growing up. It's okay. No, that's somebody. But then what I'm trying to tell is, as we go on this path, hyper awareness has to be increased even more, even more, and even more. Because it's very easy to fall down from any point. Ego, greed, ego will be always there. Spiritual ego, another dangerous thing. I know everything. I'm great. Whatever I think is right. We won't even know we are an ego unless that awareness comes. We are so helpless. So,
One more question. In the um, medicine story, so when the shopkeeper gives the rat poison, would it be called acceptance when he thinks that, okay, maybe there is some good in this, or
he, I don't know.
I'm understanding, I'm
Yeah, it's
taking it too far
hypothetical.
and not understanding it right.
Yeah, hypothetical. It's very
Mm.
hypothetical. He may have even not turned to God also. He may have just thought, oh my God, he's taken the rat poison. I can just think that, let's say he didn't have any way to contact him or whatever.
Mm.
he would have done the same thing. He would have just thought, if he was in awareness or whatever, he would have just thought, oh, I am thinking rat poison is bad. Somebody will die with rat poison is my belief.
Mm.
So I am in fear in this whole thing. So I will accept my fear.
Mm.
So he has just accepted himself, and then he has anyway still surrendered.
Yeah. Without turning to God
Yeah, it's more
physically.
of a, all of this that we are discussing here is more of a conscious observation that we are talking about.
Mm.
Conscious way of observing the self. But in this whole process, the feeling of that connection to God is the superior, God is the supreme, is what is actually the key thing here.
Mm.
God is the one who's controlling this whole game, is the one that is more important. And the more you feel reverential towards God, the more you feel reverential towards this entire creation, feel grateful for things in your life, that connection to God is more, it will become more better and better. Then it is easy, it feels more nice to apply these acceptances and surrenders and all of that. But then if you just keep doing this like a process, oh, Smita has told surrender, surrender. But then that it will not become very meaningful if we don't really understand who is this person that we are surrendering to. Oh, he's the one who's given us all of these things, even though I didn't ask. Oh, he's so good. See, when somebody keeps giving us all these things, it is very natural for us to feel, wow, yeah, I'm not done anything back to him, but he's the one who's constantly giving me all these things, and it was so helpful to me. So we are making ourselves realize that he did this, he did this, he did this, he helped me here, he helped me here. So then that connection to him actually improves. Then the friendship improves. As a person, you sort of feel connected. So that connection is, when we do gratitude and all, it's not like, why does that energy feel like it is improving? Because you are focusing on being thankful. That gratitude energy itself is very high. So any energy which may takes you closer to God, closer to that connection of God, your awareness, sorry, the frequency rises even for a temporary basis. It is actually going to take you to a higher level of clarity, at least for a momentary level. But let's say you're practicing it consistently, then we stay there. We'll not keep dropping down all the time. So, which is why practices are very important so that you can stay. It's like, it's very easy. Let's say you study very hard and then get first rank. They say it's not easy to get a first rank. It's not difficult to get first rank. It is actually more difficult to stay in that first place consistently. That is what is actually going to change the game. So, how to stay there wherever you are, to be in that level of clarity, to stay connected to God, just keep going higher. That is the sadhana that is necessary, which is why we have all of this chanting and gratitude practice and whatnot that you can bring in. Because we want to be there. We just don't want to keep dropping, going up, because in this sense of duality that we will always have some form of the triggers which will bring clarity in some cases, we will not have clarity in some cases. That clarity is coming only from that energy. Knowledge will come, but then you will not even be able to apply that knowledge if there is no awareness to use that knowledge. I'll tell you one example. I don't know whether I've shared this, but I recently bought ice cream, let's say from somebody. And the ice cream came, and then I took it. Let's say I ordered two big containers and two small containers. Now, four containers did not come. They said one small container is out of stock. Let's say small strawberries were out of stock, two butterscotch and two strawberry, small cup ice cream of strawberry. Let's say small cup ice cream, one was not there. We are out of stock, so we will send you tomorrow. Okay, fine. I said no problem. Then next day, what happened when they got the thing? I was at the door. It was heavy. They bring it with ice and all of that. So it was heavy, and I was telling my daughter, "Hey, look, this is heavy for a cup ice cream. Only a cup ice cream that was supposed to be delivered. It is very heavy. Maybe the ice is very heavy." So I went, and typically when we get this ice cream and all, I have this habit of putting that ice into the sink. And I opened the cover. I saw the entire order in that, which is two dabbas plus two dabbas. I saw the entire order in that. And I took it out and I told her, hey, the entire order they've sent us. And she was very happy. Oh, yeah, see, yesterday they didn't give us everything. So today they've also delayed one day. So they've given us because of some offer and all of that, Navaratri offer and all of that. She told Samgyan. I took out those dabbas. I told him, no, no, we can't do this. It's not ethical. We have not paid for it. All of that I'm still telling, but I have already poured the ice into the sink. And there was water and all of that. It was now gone. And I totally forgot about it also, about the ice. All I wanted to return were the dabbas. I have no clue, I have no awareness that it has to go with the ice in that moment. Then I called that guy, delivery guy back, and I said, you have to come because you've given us extra. And he comes. He comes, and then I'm talking to him at this door, and that's when he says, give me the ice back. I don't have the ice, it's all gone. I felt really very guilty at that time. Oh my God, I've destroyed the ice. Now I'll be responsible. And I'm not even able to give that back, dabbas. He said, I can't take it back to the shop because it's far away and it is going to melt in between and we are going to lose the ice cream. So fine, let's do one thing. And you know what, even I messed up with the order. I had to give you only this one order thing, right? But then I have packed the entire thing because there was some system issue and all of that. But now I can't, I have to cover this up because the company is going to know about this and I'm going to go out of my job. All of that they told. And then it my daughter was seeing me. Anyway, so he told all of these things. I absolutely did not have the awareness. Don't look at me. Why? So I absolutely did not have the awareness that at the time when he was giving me all these ideas, saying, I can't take this back. So what we will do is you keep, you give me payment for one dabba and you keep the two more dabbas free of cost. He was striking a deal. And my head was blank at that time. Okay. I'm typically very ethical and I don't really do such things and all that. But then there, I was not myself. My head was not working. I was just staring at him and all that. All that I did was I gave him 1,000 rupees. I did what I wouldn't typically do. And then I came back. It was still not right in my head. I was sitting and thinking, this is not right. I'm not doing this right. What did I not do right? Let us go over this. And then I was thinking. In between, he calls me and he said, ma'am, please don't tell my seniors about this. If they call, you just tell that we've already got the order. That much only you tell. You don't tell him anything. This was actually not sitting right in my head. Then I was discussing this with my daughter, and then we brainstormed and all that for some time. And then we decided, okay, what and she was trying to tell me, oh, see, he's going to lose his job if you go and then write back to the customer service and all that, he's going to lose his job, so you'll be responsible for him losing his job and all that. I said, him losing his job or him not losing his job is none of my business. What actually matters to me is doing the right thing. That's all, because I have to really walk. I can't fail God here. That is my only focus. I have to be truthful. I have to be ethical. That is all is my thing. And I will do whatever it takes to do that. Maybe dharma will protect me. Let it protect. I'll face the consequences when it happens. Whatever happens, I'll see. And then what was the right thing I felt at that time was to call that delivery guy only and say, see, what ideas you gave me is not working for me. I don't want to do this. You give me back that 1,000 rupees and then you get the ice. See, this get the ice flashed only after he left. Till then, I can ask him to get spare ice to my house and take back these dabbas. Did not flash to me in the past. So, how did it not flash to me? And this idea, it's a new idea. How did it not come to me? Because it was not sent to me. It was a lesson. It was I was learning a lesson that whatever knowledge I have, I was overconfident, perhaps, that, oh, I can never do such unethical stuff. But I did unethical stuff at that time by giving him 1,000 and all of that. But then later on, I called him and I said, no, this is not working for me. We have to make this right. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want, however you want, you do in your system. But I want to be able to pay for this, or you take back the ice cream. But and I can't pay because I'd already spent on two more dabbas and all of that. So I said, you take it back. You get ice, take it back. Then I was so firm on my decision that he actually got the ice the same evening and he took the dabbas, extra dabbas, and he went. So I could not practice acceptance, surrender, nothing. It was more about me willing to see um, what was what was right there. I have not really applied acceptance, surrender, and all in this process. But what I felt that whatever knowledge I already had did not help me because I was not given the awareness to even use that knowledge. So of late, more of that kind of examples only are coming to me, where I'm able to see that I am not in control in many of these cases. So if I was in control, whatever I knew, whatever I had practiced, even I have practiced for so long, many years, should have come to my rescue. Why didn't it come to my rescue? Because there was something that I had to learn, that it will not come, and I can't take it for granted. I need to be able to shed that belief that I am doing it. I will be ethical because I am such a kind of person. That cannot happen. You can't take yourself for granted because you are only an instrument. Only when that source sends me that awareness and I can get access to that I already have, only I can apply. So imagine how much we are like an instrument here. So some of these examples have given me more and more clarity that I am actually, suppose even if I have to move my hand, the sense of understanding of how to move my hand is also coming to me. It is so seamless. We can't take anything for granted, is what I'm saying. Imagine during COVID, many people wanted to breathe. They've been breathing all their life. Oxygen was in front of them. Why were they not able to breathe? If it was so easy, you can say, oh yeah, lung function, malfunction, all of that you can say. We can't do that breathing because we are being breathed by some source. It's breathing us. It is putting life into us. So it is that is the kind of observation you have to bring into your day-to-day life. Who's driving? When I'm driving the scooter, I keep thinking, oh, I'm not driving. And then when I turn, I see what are the actual steps that a person has to need to be able to turn or towards the right or turn towards the left. How does that, what are things that are coming together to actually make that happen? Did I think that? I can say, yeah, I practice scooter, so that's why I'm able to do this. I can practice scooter, but then I also can meet with an accident someday. I may fall. How did that happen? So there are so many things that are actually gray that we really, so all that comes only with awareness. Awareness of who is running the show and how much, where do I stand? Where does my ego stand? It thinks it is the one who's doing everything. So, but awareness and experiences will only teach us that ego is not the one. Ego is only witnessing after it happens.
But wasn't it the ego who decided that I cannot do the unethical thing? I have to be ethical and call back that person and do
It
this
was, you can
remedy.
say, the intellect of the discriminatory capacity, which says what is right and what is wrong.
Okay.
It will tell you what is right and wrong. But then I could have told, oh yeah, it's okay. And anyway, nobody will notice. No, we'll just leave off this incident as
Hmm.
an aberration. Maybe God did it. I can just cover up something. But then the sense of walking rather not having the ice cream which I've not paid for, and then giving somebody some thousand just for some stories that he told me does not sit okay with me, because I wanted to live that inner conscience had to be clear. Now that is
So
my,
there are
I don't know, maybe when
situations
the
where we
awareness
have to
improves or what.
decide based on right and wrong instead
Yes,
of just
you,
blindly accepting.
yes. See, it's like what is your sense of right may be different from my sense of right.
Mm.
Your right is very perfect for you.
Mm.
It will come from inside you. The intellect will tell this is right and this is wrong. Don't do this. But then do we actually always listen to don't do this? Do we always listen to that mind which says don't do this? But when the ego says do this, do that, there will always be some logical reasons. It will say, don't do this because I gave that helmet example. I don't know where I gave that. Let's say you have to go and drive to the corner, some shop. The inner voice will say, wear a helmet. It could be coming from fear also. Let's say, let's not go there. Maybe my current level awareness is also mixed with fear. So it comes with a discriminatory capacity which says, wear a helmet. It did not give me any reason, wear a helmet. But then my ego will say, I don't have to wear a helmet, I think. Because it's anyway the corner, police will not be there. And anyway, it's just a residential road. So I don't have to wear a helmet. But many times what happens, there could be an accident also in my reality. And maybe my discriminatory capacity, if I had listened, that will probably save me from that accident. Maybe I didn't have to learn from that accident or whatever it is. I'm just giving some hypothetical scenarios. So it is always best to listen to what is that inner voice that is saying, do this. This is right. It is not like your right is everybody's right. Your right is your right. Somebody else's right is their right. For you, for your uniqueness, your right is best. Listen to keep listening to that right, and keep following that. It will actually help. That sense of right also will improve over a period of time. It will keep improving based on awareness. But just, it's best to always listen to that. But we always don't listen to that. Not always. But for me, walk rather being saying the truth and all of that has sort of improved over a period of time. But I never told the truth, even in many cases. Like as a child, I have lied to, let's say, to steal some mangoes and all. I've done some lying and all of that. I've done my share. But over a period of time, that sense of I have to be truthful has improved. But then we don't know when we are lying also, especially when we try to cover up with fear, and also we are lying. We are lying to ourselves. We are lying our own identity in many cases. So that sense of truth is actually very, very different. The meaning of truth actually keeps changing as our awareness keeps improving. It is not
And
just,
how do we know the difference between which voice is coming from ego and which voice is coming from discriminative intelligent intellect? So
typically when you
if
feel
something is dharmic or the right thing to do, that will always come from the discriminative intellect.
it will
What?
come. But then when the ego says right, it will actually justify why it is right. It will try to justify
Okay.
and tell you why you should do. You will only keep thinking those justification reasons. It'll just automatically keep popping.
Even wearing helmet also, in your mind there will be justification why you should wear helmet.
Yeah. No, for this corner, should I wear, shouldn't I wear?
Hmm.
That, for example, let's say
Okay.
you're going on the wrong side, opposite side of the signal or whatever. But you just had to cover only one road in the opposite side. If opposite, what do you say, in the wrong lane or whatever. But your ego will, it's okay, yaar, it's okay. It's just one way. You just go slowly, it will be okay, fine. But then you know that is wrong, right? You're not following traffic rules or whatever. There is always that sense of right and wrong. Sometimes we choose not to follow it.
Is it that right will always come from discriminative
Yeah.
intellect and wrong
Yeah.
will always come from ego?
It's not like wrong will come from ego. Wrong also will come from discriminative intellect only. But it will say, don't do this. It is wrong for you. It is like it is not going to take you, it's not your path. It is not going to help you in your path kind of thing. It is say, no, don't do this. For example, let's say you somebody will offer you alcohol. Maybe your inner voice will say, don't, no, don't take alcohol. You have already quit
Mm.
it, kind of thing.
But
But then
then
there will
ego
always
will
be that
justify
ego.
the wrong.
Ego will say, it's okay, yaar, one peg, take it. After a long time, you're taking it. It's not like you're building a habit. It's okay, take
Mm.
it. It's just for this friendship.
Okay.
Somebody will keep telling somebody, and your reality also will keep instigating. Because POSC or POS is always going to show you how strong some of these areas are within you.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Pooja?
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, Smita, I want to ask related to that COVID vaccination question. You said that you were in acceptance and surrender, and you did whatever think you will is right for you.
At that time, I
And
didn't know acceptance. Somehow that acceptance awareness only was not there in me.
uh, but
2022.
you were you were aware ki what I have to do at this moment of time. And your daughter is also known about the ethical things, and your
No, no, no,
family is
no. She
also.
is not ethical or anything.
No,
For
but you
her,
said na ki
ethical
she.
means I can't, I can't lie. That is her ethical.
Yeah, I can't lie and all these things. And you did whatever you feel is right for you. But if somebody is there in state of your daughter, if your daughter insists you, Amma, ki do this, otherwise I will lose this opportunity, or she will tantrum it, or whatever the reason she will give, ki, because of you I will lose the opportunity and all that, then at that moment of time, what should we do? We should go with our path only, or should we listen to the child who is insisting ki amma, this will not going to work, and you have to think about me also? Then at that moment of time, what
So,
we can do?
at that time, you should look for what is the one that you're resisting here. See, every experience is good only. But why are you resisting some experience that is coming to you? Why do you
I
want
don't get it.
why do you want that person to not follow that experience? Because you have a belief system that says it is bad. So you have to look
But
at
it will not
you.
create the clash between the mother and daughter at
That is
that moment.
drama. That is drama. So in the current class, what we have to focus on is don't focus on the drama. Focus on what is the POSC triggering within you. Focus on what is being triggered within you and accept that. Mentally accept. There may be many actions that you're doing. You may talk to them.
But
You may do
but
many things. But you
but
have to
if you
believe that it is within you, which is why that happened, which is why that sadness happened. That belief system should change, that it is within me, which is why the sadness happened. It is not because of them. That belief, that what can I say? How do I tell this in English? I don't know whether it is actually understanding. Am I clear that I should.
but like I want to ask that if a family is against you and they will insist you ki no, you have to do some of the things, because without doing that thing we can't do, our daughter will lose our 1 year, or we can't go forward without doing, because everyone is doing that, and without
See,
yeah.
at that time, you should look at yourself. What is that fear that is, why are you stopping that? Why is your decision not aligned with their decision? Because there is some fear that is stopping you. So focus on that fear. That is actually the problem here. The drama will keep changing. The drama is, don't think like old puja. Think like a new puja. Focus on your evolution, focus on your cleansing. Rest of it will rearrange itself. Let go of the old mindset. It is not helping you, it did not help you. At least now, at least it's not helping you. So be willing to change yourself to apply this process at least for 3-4 months fully and see. Give it a
it
shot. Like
it means
100% give it a shot.
It means if you are firm with your decision and you are ready to accept whatever the situation, whatever the outcome will come, whether your daughter will lose the ear also, whether there is a clash between you and your daughter, you are ready to accept all the outcomes which will come with this decision. But you are firm with your belief.
You are going to say, I am able to accept the fear that is there within me, and you surrender to whatever outcomes happen. Like, see, fear was there, which is why you said no. Now you're accepting the fear was within me, and you say, take whatever decisions you want. Because of that fear, you said, no, don't take that decision. But now you understood, oh, fear was within me, and I don't think I need this fear anymore. Now there is nothing stopping you from saying okay for the decision. You say, do whatever you want. You don't have any problem from my side. Then you accepted the fear, you let go of the fear, and then you are surrendered to whatever outcomes that are also coming after this. See what happens. If you do this well, things will actually, depending on your mindset. Okay? Yeah. Okay, I think we've overshoot our time as usual. I'll just see the questions here. Earth was a different soul. So because of other human competition with, how did she go down? So it was like she was impacted by the collective energy of everybody residing within her. Even the brutal rape is also created by the soul to, yes, everything is a part of the experience. What we say bad, good, is our label on it, but then everything is just an experience, and respective souls have planned it. If you are the person in direct relation to that person, then you have what is that triggering within you when you hear or that experience, that you need to focus on. But the drama is anyway happening because that soul has planned it. Can you please elaborate here? This is okay. I don't know which you are trying to elaborate. I don't know. Kirti, do you know what you were trying to ask me?
Hi, yeah, it is a beautiful class. I just about what I think Satya was Pooja was asking
Yeah,
about the
Pooja.
vaccination part. I got it. So, what your opinion is mm, you first sit with yourself and find why are you getting so triggered when your child wants to take that up. So when you find out what the fear is, then surrender to the supreme so that whatever outcome happens very naturally.
Yeah, yeah.
That learning is her, so you create a detachment there because you're a part of that ego is hung up on not getting the vaccination or whatever part, this hypothetical situation that we have created. So you create with your sadhanas and all of that, you elevate your vibration, you create a detachment, not thinking she's my daughter, she has to see, the source the same way that I see it. Getting this done will be negating the ultimate truth that I hold. So this will be her life's journey. Yes, darling, I'll be with you in a minute.
There
So
is nothing
realizing,
her life's journey because this is my
okay,
reality.
okay,
It will take shape the way my vibrations are. The lessons, see, whoever is operating in my reality is
okay.
obviously there to trigger something from within me and show
Mm-hmm,
me what are those limited feelings that I have, what are those limited belief systems or limited emotions that I have, which is
mm-hmm,
actually being an obstacle to that me becoming that ultimate self.
mm-hmm.
So there are always excavators on my journey. So this situation is also a method to show me what my fears are, where my fears are.
Yeah,
Because
sure, sure.
when somebody takes this, they might fall sick. And there is a preference that they don't take at all. There are all of
Mm-hmm,
these hidden belief systems, which we, let's say, come across through friends and other experiences. So they had to play out. And I had to just let it go. I had to say, like you said, detach from everything and say, oh, let whatever happen. I'm okay with anything. I'm mentally ready for anything. I have the permissions, you have the permission slip. I've delegated this whole situation to you. And all I'm going to do is just be okay with all outcomes.
Okay. The deal breaker here is to not get infuriated and create that detachment. Like for people on lower vibration, I think that's the true catch there.
See,
Doing it.
that will come only through
Uh,
over time, repeated practices. That
true, true.
awareness has to come. You have to be able to be willing to surrender for small, small things. And surrender as a topic I'll take in the next class, where I'll give you more examples, so it will become more clear.
Can you just run this by on like a day-to-day basis? Imagine this situation had come up. Like, how would you handle it in real life, real time? As
See,
in,
on a
like,
day-to-day basis, see, this what also happened was, um, she had to get vaccinated. Okay. And then one of the day came where in between the college thing and all happened, the college was needing it, and she had to get it done. So I became okay with her getting it done, because until now I was like, no, no, don't get it done. Don't. Then she said, no, I can't make a fake thing. I can't get a fake one done. I have to go. So they went to a vaccination center in Bangalore. That day, the vaccination center told them, at that time I had surrendered. I was actually doing my yoga, and then I was like sitting and closing my eyes, and I was like focusing on running through all of these options and surrendering. So then I said, okay, fine, go. So they went to the center. There in the center, they told them they have discontinued manufacture of all these vaccinations, and none of them is, we don't have the vaccinations anymore. So they didn't, they just came back without any vaccination.
how miracles happen when you surrender.
Oh, yeah,
Beautiful.
seriously.
Yeah.
Like timing, you can see the timing. Aeroplane discontinuing it, and then next level was, um see, she was also prepared to go get it done there in the US. If the center wanted it, if the let's say here they were not giving, now the next option was, okay, go to US and get it done. That was, if the college had asked, she had to go there and get it done. That was also there. So surrender worked in so many different ways. And I was in many different cases, especially when the situations kept coming again and again and again and again. I had to run through the options and say surrender, surrender, surrender. Because it was just, let's say now there was a different obstacle and different. I was facing a sort of a mental block, mental resistance, you can say. So in each point, there will be different things that will um, help us or make us apply these things. And then the college thing was next, where we had college was asking, and the next issue was we didn't have the immunization records,
ஷோ
right?
உதைக்க
We didn't.
கூடாது குழந்தைய.
Can you please go on mute, Kirti, or whoever it is? Who is
I
there?
am on mute.
Who is that with the baby? Pavitra? Okay. So we had lost those immunization records, and college was asking it, and then the doctor surrender. We didn't surrender. I went to the doctor. Then doctor did that, and then I surrendered because I had no choice. Then the doctor thing happened, and then there was no records. How do we show? We can't do fake because she was not agreeing to that. So we had no choice, and that's when I sort of felt like um, I hit a wall. But it's actually not a wall. It was more about the universe was trying to show me a way through surrender, which I was not willing to look at. No, then only I did surrender because my ego felt there was nothing else I could do. So it sort of, where did I even get the idea of keep doing all of these things? Awareness comes as we keep practicing. Let's say God gives those awarenesses, and then hopefully we will act on that. But then many times we may not listen to it. We may not listen and we will still go with those fears that we are always. So it depends. If we are willing to take that leap of faith, it actually helps. Because we need to understand that it is only me, the variable in this whole game. Nobody else is actually getting impacted. They are only constants coming and going in this as a POSC. So we don't have to actually worry so much about them. It is more about we have to worry only about ourselves and our changes and our evolution, and rest of the puzzle will automatically work. That's the overarching belief system that we need to have on a daily basis. Day-to-day interactions, what ideas come, how do you act, all of that has to come through awareness. And hopefully when we keep raising our vibrations through chanting, gratitude and all that, that vibrations will help us. Okay, chalo, we'll stop here. Satya, is your question small, or you can ask the question? If it's something that I can take up in the next class, I can you ask your question?
Yeah, small only. Smita, actually, the class was like really amazing. Actually, in my scenario, like, uh, I don't know how to implement this acceptance because I'm just trying from long. My brother actually he's smoking like mostly like more than nearly 10 years. Okay,
Did you say
so
smoking?
yes, smoking. Yeah, smoking nearly 10 years. But as a sister, like my heart is breaking when he's doing like this because I know my fear is I found my fear is like I may lose him if he's continuously doing, he may get health issues, and finally, and we know like what it will happen in the end. But somewhat I'm just trying to accept him like completely, like okay, when he want to change his habit he will do, but I cannot change. As I said in many things like maybe it will impact your lungs or health. I know he knows everything, but he looked into that habit, so he cannot come back easily. So as I said everything, but I could not accept him as completely like okay he's doing, we'll wait for some time, or I don't know what to do.
See, it's
But
like if you keep focusing on educating him, he's already educated. As of now, what he's thinking is he thinks he's doing right only. To his level of awareness, what he's thinking, he's okay. He feels that whatever he's doing is right. And it's not going to harm me. That's what he thinks. Because if that sense of, oh my God, I can't do this was very strong, he wouldn't have done it. Which is where experience comes. Now, why are you not smoking? Because you've already smoked in some life and you've already seen whatever experiences that you had to see, and now you have already got the belief system that I should not smoke, it is bad for my health, which is why he's in your reality, so that there is something that says it's bad for me, or smoking is bad, or whatever is, rather I'm going to get killed or somebody is going to get killed because of smoking, is there in your head, the fear.
yeah,
So,
fear.
which is why a person who's attached is rather you have attachment to is showing you that. Instead of thinking that he will have to accept or he needs experience, that is all slightly a bigger, longer story to explain your ego. But you should tell your ego, hey, that guy is smoking because you have fear within you. He's smoking because you are so attached to him. You have to keep accepting that every time that fear comes, oh, it is actually within me. That is why this drama is coming in front of me. If you didn't have it, the drama wouldn't have happened. So, who is the source of this problem?
Myself.
You only. So, how can you change him? You can't change him, which is why he's not changing, because you are also in that addiction of constantly changing them.
Mm.
See, every time we see some problem in somebody, it is also playing in our own life, but we don't have the awareness of where we are doing it. Same thing we'll also be doing. It means that he may have addiction to alcohol, you may have addiction to something else.
Actually, Smita, I had addiction in coffee, so I'll drink coffee like per
No,
day
that is
maybe
very
four.
simple. I'm talking about addiction at a very different level. Forget, let's say you leave coffee also, but you still probably have addiction to many subtle things in interactions also. Not just,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about you, I'm just saying if something is in our reality, some behavior is in our reality, we also have that, which is why that reflection is showing out. But
Mm-hmm.
how do we accept that it is, that reflection is because of us? We don't have that sense of I am God, no, yet. Technically, we know. Experientially, we don't know. So it's a process of going to that experience someday. We are training ourselves to go and get that experience. First, belief has to come, then only experience will come. So we are slowly getting there to become that. So we'll first, let's believe that, oh, I am this God, I have this reflection, and it is playing out because of me. And why is it coming? How do you know what you have to change within yourself for that reflection to improve or whatever? Why is that reflection there? You don't have any reasons. So this is the process to see what it is triggering within you at that time, which is fear. Fear of losing him. See, when people have to die, they'll die even when they are healthy. It has nothing to do with cigarette. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, all whatever, let's say if he gets cancer or if he get whatever he gets at that because of that lung issues or what, it is his plan to experience all that. You can't change it. You'll suffer and make more baggage in your bodies by going to in that loop. You can't change anybody, you can only change yourself. There is a version of your brother who smokes, there is a version of your brother who doesn't smoke in a higher frequency. If you want to get there, you need to go here to this brother. As of now you are here witnessing your fear. If you let go of your fear, or let's say that part goes off from within you, you will go here. Because now you no longer have that limited feeling. No, you will see a brother who has suddenly come to you and say, from today, I saw some ad or I saw somebody, something happened, and I know I don't feel like smoking anymore. You'll be like, what happened? What did I do? How did this transformation happen? No, nothing happened. You shifted your reality. That's all. Every version has already been created. Are you willing to go there? That is the whole point. So focus on yourself, focus on doing this inner work that we are talking here. Whatever is supposed to come to you will come to you because you changed, and you can't change yourself. You can only accept yourself and then surrender. That limited feeling has to go because God removes it. So just do this like homework. Yeah, I have to do this homework. If you do it like homework, if you surrender to this knowledge that is coming, like a true disciple, how does a true student work? A true student will listen to everything that the teacher says because for him teacher is like God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about Smita, I'm talking about the knowledge that is coming. Just surrender to that knowledge and just be that good student. Don't question, just say I'm going to follow this process until I become master of this process. Then yeah, you can bend the rules and all that. Just do this, you will see the results. Then I don't have to even tell you anything. Your experience would have taught you, but you have to get there, no? How will you get to your experience teaching you? How will the results teach you? You have to follow blindly. Bhagavad Gita also says, I don't know which chapter, but it says, if you don't have the knowledge to read the scriptures and go there to a point and get that sense of understanding of what to do and then surrender to your inner whatever voice and just keep going, if you don't have that, if you are not willing to do all that, then listen to the POSC that is coming in front of you and follow and be surrendered to that. So either you are learning to surrender to your inner mind or you're surrendering to the outer mind, which is your reflection. So surrender to something, follow it like nothing else. It's like it has to be like there is no I don't know how do you say. You just have to follow it. There is no I'll do this much, I'll not do this much. I don't like this. Or with that in Hindi they call it manmani. So don't do that at all. Just just do it. Because they told it, I'm going to do it, kind of. If that kind of discipleship is there, no, you will just be able to surrender. And then that's because your skill of surrender is improving, everything else will shift. Surrender doesn't have to just come for cigarette here. It can come in other areas also. There also you will shift and then cigarette will change. You just have to practice some of these things in other areas of your life. Forget about brother, maybe it's too strong. In other areas you practice, it will improve here also.
Sure, sure, Sangeeta.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Fine. Thank you, guys. To the Supreme God, we thank you for your divine blessings to my spiritual teacher, to all the spiritual teachers, holy masters, all the saints, holy angels, spiritual helpers, and all the great ones. We thank you for your great, great blessings. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.